Welcome back to the LCO. It's time for match 3, and it is going to be Gravitas taking on Order. So let's see how this one plays out. I'm excited, of course, because Order had quite a strong roster, last split over in the OPL, and it's a completely different ball game now. They've made a whole lot of swaps. What are you guys' takes on both these teams?
I think they both got young squads. They both got squads who are in probably the same periods of their career in terms of, they have their goals, they have their ambitions, and they have their platform to prove their worth now, right? And I think that, one team in particular has been talking a lot more than the other, let's just say. A few players on the Order lineup have been very vocal about, where they sit and where they see themselves finishing. So I'm interested to see how this game plays out. I think potentially could be a little bit closer than it's made out to be.
Well, let's have a quick look at the Gravitas lineup as well. And Skimmy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Gravitas lineup's interesting. Azus as well as Piglet, names that we saw once again in the OCS last year. Rest of the faces, really looking to make themselves a rookie appearance, really looking to showcase what they can do. Sort of very much the same sentiment, right, as Mammoth, right? You've got these players that have already had a little bit of a taste of what the life can be like at this level, and others that are saying, look, you've got the talent, you've got the potential, now it's a chance for you to try and unlock that.
Really excited to see. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see Azus play and Kiyose. I think that they're both two talented people who have, climbed extremely high at times in solo queue. And I will say that Azus is one who's transitioned into the jungle role. Like he hasn't started out there, but I'm super excited. And I think those two players are going to be pivotal to this Gravitas roster. And yeah, I'm super excited.
All right, cool. That's one side of the coin for match number 3. Let's look at the other side. And the other side, of course, is Order. They're pretty close to home for me, and it looks like they've got a pretty solid lineup here as well.
Yeah, certainly do. I mean, you look at Maximize and Vengeance just to start things off with. They come in hot off the press of what was a very solid performance for them on Mammoth Academy and OCS last year as well. They'd be familiar with each other. Maximize, to me, is one of those players that says, look, I don't want to be pulled in this tank duty role. I don't want to be playing the likes of Ornn or GP or Renekton's. I want to be popping off and show my flair. And, he was receiving pocket bans all the time in the likes of Fiora as well as Camille. So a player to watch. Then you go down to the bottom lane and you look at Puma and Beats, both players that showcase that they have potential. I mean, a lot of these plays, you would say, hand-to-hand going up against Gravitas, this team has more experience as a whole.
Yeah, funnily enough, this Order bot lane too is the previous bot lane of Gravitas. So maybe a little bit of a rivalry there, wanting to beat their old team, old organization. But yeah, Chungy's one I want to keep my eyes on. Came into the OPL, had a few whirlies, had a few blinders, if you will, had some really good performances. So, Maximize again being very vocal about where he sits, where this team sits, and don't mind it, honestly, even though it's from a young lad. Like the flair, like the personality coming out of him. And I'm super excited. I hope he does well. I hope everyone does well at the end of the day. But there can only be one winner, Mac, and that's what makes me sad.
Well, that's it. And one of the winners, or maybe both of the winners, are going to be here in another interview. We're going to jump down to the sidelines with Nat T again. Nat, who do you have for us for match number 3?
Coming into game number 3, we have Gravitas's Piglet and Order's Maximize. Guys, you're both coming into the LCO off the back of being in OCS. I'm sure you're very eager to prove yourself. So I want to ask Piglet, what are your personal and team goals coming into this split?
Well, mainly teamwork. Like we haven't played with each other that long, so it's kind of just we want to get used to each other and we want to just see how far we can go, basically.
Yeah, of course. And what about you, Maximize? What are your personal goals and team goals?
I've said this before, I think top lane is a role in Oceania that's very, very weak. I think there's literally 2 players who can actually play the role, and then everyone else is just a nobody who's going to get rolled. So that's my aim, to just live up to that and do what I should be doing in that role. And then as a team, I think everyone's sort of sleeping on us as Order. I've seen a lot of power rankings putting us 5th, which is quite disrespectful. Honestly, I think we can do a lot higher than that. We can go a lot higher. And so I guess my goal as a team is to prove everyone wrong and win the split.
Yeah, okay, that's some big words. We'll be very excited to see how you guys go throughout the split then. Piglet, I also want to ask, this is your first time on a starting roster. How does it feel to be given this chance to, not only be in a team in LCO, but the starting roster as well?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. I can show. I basically want to just prove myself, just basically just be like, yeah, he's a good player in OS, and maybe he can do stuff in other regions as well. Basically, it's just a stepping stone starting here.
Yeah, of course. And then my last question, I'll ask you, Maximize. How is the team environment in Order compared to the past teams that you've been on?
Yeah, so I've only been on one other team, well, two sort of. So Mammoth OCS last year, I actually played with my current jungler, Vengeance, and that environment was pretty good, but I would say that the environment that we have on Order is probably by far the best that I've ever had. I think everyone's just a great guy to get along with, and everyone's very keen on the same page. I know some teams in the LCO, shout out Chiefs, may not have the best team environment. So I think that our sort of support for each other will see us going far this split.
Alrighty. Again, some more big words. But guys, I'll let you go. We'll be looking out for that teamwork throughout this whole entire match. We'll head on back over to Mac, Tubes, and Skimmy for now.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Nat. Now, we need to get into the game as quickly as we possibly can because I believe we are behind schedule. And look, we love to stick the schedule around these parts. Maybe not myself, but maybe you guys are a bit more inclined to be.
I mean, I turned up late to pre-show, but whatever.
Yeah, well, we're here and we made it on time. And look, I might have had to bring a dog on the camera, but you know, we're all here in one way, shape or form. Anyway, we do have to have a quick look at the predictions before we do get into the Champ Select. So let's bring them up and see where our allegiances lie. And it looks like we have all gone for Order here. And looks like you guys have taken the lead 2-0, getting your last picks right.
I mean, Mac, I love you, but you're a pretty face. You're a pretty face. League of Legends analyst, not so much, but pretty. Very pretty.
That's what I'm here for, you know, try to keep everything looking good. Although I do hide everything behind my moustache, everything, all my self-confidence, etc. What about you, Skimmy? Pumped for this one?
Yeah, pumped for this one. I think for me, it's just too much of a hill to try and climb over when you've got a jungle on top that are played together and you've got a bot lane that are playing together as already. That's a synergy that, once again, experience has been so key, especially at this level of competition. You come into that, and then you have Chungi, who's already been playing at this level before. I'm expecting some crazy pocket picks, but I'm also expecting a lot of synergy to showcase that, yeah, we can gap you in these particular departments.
So, any champs we're going to be looking out for? You reckon UD is going to be banned again or maybe slide through the cracks?
Look, I just want the Ahri, mate. Ahri mid lane. We saw it once. Rusty wasn't a believer, throw him under the bus, but when we saw it, it popped off. It got a bit of a surprise result right into Legacy, and that really caught them off guard. And you know, really made himself a sort of household name as a result from that one, right? We got the montage reel that Order laid upon us when they announced their roster. So, I mean, I'm just keen to see more flair come out of their team as a result like that.
Well, flair is what you're about to get. Game 3 about to get underway. Gravitas and Order coming up right now. It's time for Champ Select.
Well, here we go, Juves. Gravitas Order, game number 3 to kick things off here. We're going to get to see exactly really what these ideas do formulate to be. We talked already at length as to Order having the synergy and the understanding of what they're looking to try and achieve. What does it all mean when you join two duos together? On the side of Gravitas, a big platform once again for them to showcase what they're all about, how they can prove that they deserve to be at this level, and what sort of champions they're going to find themselves in comfort with. You know, there's always going to be the meta, but there's always going to be the comfort picks, and that for me is always going to be the point of, well, excitement really more for the viewers than anything when you're stuck on certain patches, when regions as a whole unify and sort of agree that, you know, these champions work, these champions don't. When you have comforts, it always spices things up just a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, in a region where sometimes we're a little bit slower to pick up meta, like, you know, I remember last year, you know, Center Time was prevalent as ever in every region, and we were a little bit slower to pick it up. You know, we do have our own definition of meta and things that work, and sometimes, you know, comfort is the best way, and we do see that overseas sometimes, so wouldn't be surprised if we see a Chungi special. You know, he did popularize the Kai'Sa mid, or the AD carries mid in the Challenger Series, so keep your eye on that for Chungi. Look at these bans coming out. So Udyr obviously one that they don't want to give away. Camille taken away from Maximize. Fun fact, Maximize and Safa, both most played are Camille. They are both, like, I wouldn't call them Camille one-tricks, but they both, you know, have a lot of games on Camille in solo queue, and it is definitely a champion in which you probably will see banned away from them quite a bit. Now, Lilia first pick is something I was going to talk about, something that Vengeance has put a lot of time into, something that has been, you know, a hot pick overseas and in the international leagues. And so again, it is a snap lock up first pick, and we'll have to see what Asus has, you know, as a counter pick. Asus is a prevalent Evelyn player, is a player that, you know, does like the AP kind of jungle champion. So have to see if he opts in for kind of that matchup, if you will.
Yeah, it's been interesting to sort of see the evolution, right, of the jungle. Obviously with the nerfs as well, the changes as the patches go on through. You know, once upon a time, if you wanted you know, a turbo farm clear, you'd be going, right, Lilia, we'll pick Nidalee, we'll go for that direction. Then we saw the big rise, right, of the AD junglers come back into life and them start to really take over control once again. Be interesting to see what the counter pick is going into this Lilia, or if they're going to focus more on the lanes as opposed to the jungle 1v1. But as it stands, Gravitas gone for what appears to be a double support composition where that Karma can pretty much flex anywhere they like.
I don't like what they did there with the Karma and the Thresh, right? Because the whole point in picking the Karma is that it's a flex. You want to be able to like swing at support, swing at mid lane, swing at like in as many lanes as possible, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you lock in the Thresh, you already know Karma isn't going into the bot lane. And sure, you know, maybe you do your research. Maybe you know Isaiah doesn't play the Karma, but at the end of the day, it is just like one less thing for Order to think about. And we can see already they've locked in the Nautilus, you know, and they've just opted in for that matchup into the Thresh, which again is a little bit of a nothing matchup, a little bit of a skilly. Not much is going to happen in that lane unless, you know, the hook is land onto a priority target. Galio shown pretty early on too from Chungy. Again, something that he's put a lot of time into when he was working on diversifying his champion pool and branching out and becoming, you know, a quote-unquote professional mid laner. This is something that he, you know, opted in for. Learning Galio, learning how to play the map, learning how to move and support and act as a secondary for his jungler. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays that one.
And it's just going to give him so much cross-map mobility to make plays across the board, right? You still got that ability to couple with the rest of your team, the wombo combo. The potential is for sure there. But what's interesting for me is coming to the second half of this rotation for the draft is that they've gone for the Hecarim direction. So now you've got yourself a situation where you've got Karma for the shields, Fresh for the lantern, Fresh for the hook, and then the charge that the Hecarim can bring as well. So you've got yourself a setup, you've got yourself a support network to foster it. You're going to need some heavy hitters in these last two picks now.
And Hecarim historically has been a weird champion, like in the meta. It does very well, or historically has done very well into the likes of like Thalia and those AP kind of magey champions that, you know, often function in the jungle. And so, you know, it's the same thinking for Gravitas, in which, you know, they have the Karma to buff up that Hecarim to act as like a kind of quote-unquote Hecarim composition. And sometimes it can be, you know, as early as a level 6 where it really puts the hurt onto the Lilia. Because Lilia ramps up with abilities used, right? Lilia isn't fast straight away. So if this Hecarim ever just runs into the Lilia, it's going to be quite hard for her to disengage. And there might be, you know, a cheeky solo kill or a cheeky 2v2 in which Kiyose and Asus are able to pick up a 2v2 kill and really get this Hecarim snowballing.
And it's going to be interesting to see if it will be the mid Karma as a result right now, because you look at the Lilia as well as the Galio, and it's a pretty formidable mid-jungle duo that has the CC to set things up, to make things happen quite early on for the controls, for the rotations, for what they've already showcased here in these first 3 picks. Now we're going to go back to Gravitas' call. They're going to lock in that Nard, just go for the blind pick direction in top side, saying, look, we can go for range to rest, bring at us whatever you like. Are you going to go for a scaling option like the Ornn? Are you going to play weak side, or do you want to go full out aggression? You already touched on the likes of Renekton getting that slight nerf, but it has been a bit of an all-in champion in the past.
Nice.
But no,
that's what I was going to say.
Poke.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Historically, Jace has fared extremely well into Gnar. It is a very hard Gnar lane. But Jace is also a very hard champion, right? You can't play Jace in a competitive game and weak side him. You can't leave Jace on an island in which he's able to just get, you know, ganked, put behind, because then he really does turn into a champion that's not useful. So this is going to be an extremely volatile top side. And if you look at the composition that Order have put together, it is a comp that favors quite heavily to playing to a side lane. And now, obviously, that side lane is going to be that Jace. You know, think about the Galio roams, the Galio ultimate. And, you know, it is an easy itemization, because now Gnar is going to have to opt in for, you know, the boots. For boots, you know, what does he do? Opt in for like a little bit of tenacity? Does he opt in for the you know, itemize for the Jace? So again, not an easy time for Safa, and it's going to be a little bit of a you know, a big test for him. Maximize has had some big words. Reckons he's going to be, you know, one of the best top laners in the league. So yeah, this is the time to show it. When you pick the counter pick, you pick the Jace. You have the resources now. Well, you know, you have the tools at least. So.
We've seen him funneled resources in the past, and as for the points you already mentioned, you'd start to think, well, perhaps we are going to run it back on that same script again. And and sort of see them put a big emphasis into the Jace to make sure that he gets up and running. But, I mean, take it back to Gravitas 1 second. The final pick, it was the Sivir. This is a composition that only knows Cloud Soul things. They want to run fast. They want things to go late. They want you to, you know, throw everything at them, sidestep it, and then turn things around. So this is a scary composition in its own right.
It's just a go fast comp for Hecarim. Like, you can tell that Gravitas really respect their jungler, right? These are all the resources into the jungler's basket. You know, Hecarim pretty much has all the tools to be able to have a successful game. You know, the Karma is going to be able to, you know, fare quite well in the mid lane into the Galio. Shouldn't be much kill threat between the Lilia and the Lilia and the Galio. So, you know, it is going to be a point in which Hecarim will be able to get level 6. Will be able to, you know, influence the map. It's just a question on what Maximize was able to do on the top side and how far behind this Nari is. And again, maybe Saffo will surprise us. Maybe Saffo will outplay this matchup. But, you know, at least in terms of how these are meant to play out, Maximize should get quite a big lead.
So let's break it down then from a standpoint of win conditions. We already talked about what top lane could look like there. We've been a bit of a counter pick in its own right and sort of maybe attention being shown that way to nullify that. But from a standpoint of order, we're looking at a composition that has a strong bot lane with the Jhin and the Nautilus for kill pressure and damage. Is that an area of execution, or do you really prioritize mid jungle instead for them?
Yeah, I mean, look, Beats and Puma have been together for a year now, right? You know, against this Sivir Thresh lane, there's probably going to be not much volatility. I reckon they're going to be happy to farm this one out, and most of the eggs will be in Maximize basket. I reckon Beats will even just ditch bot lane very early on, you know, on the timing, right? On the timing where Puma can't be dove, and be able to just, you know, offer assistance. So, you know, I think this is just going to be a game of two tapes. Can Azus punish bot lane as hard as, you know, Vengeance and Beats punish the top side of Gravitas? So, you know, we might even just see complete map splits, complete, you know, separate focus from both teams. And whoever can do the most damage is probably going to be the, you know, the team that wins this game.
And as clear as cut as that can be, from a standpoint of Gravitas, you talk about it being a very much go-fast composition. Is it really as simple as that, you know, if this Hecarim doesn't get online, it's all doom and gloom?
I mean, it's not as simple as you hit the R button and then you have access, right? You have to take into account that, you know, whilst Hecarim is going to be the main threat of this composition, he can't just ulti into a backline that's going to, you know, have a Galio there for CC, going to have the peel from a Nautilus. Like, the Hecarim is probably going to be pinned down, won't be able to move. So you have to be a little bit smart with it. You know, you almost have to either have a flank into the backline, right, where they aren't expecting it, or you almost have to have that secondary engage from the Mega Gnar come up straight away. So there has to be multiple threats. It can't just be a straight dive into backline because you're not going to be successful. So yes, it does come down to how you set up. And, you know, when you're this early on into a season, when you don't have this much experience yet as a team, and you probably haven't had this much, you know, scrim time yet, it will come down to who is more polished. Always with these 5v5 compositions, there's a lot of intricacies that go into them. It does come down to, are you able to set up the flank ward? And with Gnar compositions, are you able to time the Mega Gnar with the engage? And there's all these little intricacies that we'll see in-game that will really determine who comes out on top. Now we're seeing Order, you know, already opt in for the aggressive level 1. They have the Nautilus hook. What are they going to do with it?
Well, that's the big question right now as we jump into game number 3 here for the LCO's opening night. Order on the left-hand side, Gravitas on the right. The photo shooters there, they're looking clean, they're looking fresh, they're sponsored by Puma, and they have a player called Puma. It's a match made in heaven for them, but for Gravitas, it's all things go fast, fast, fast. Can they run away? Can they disengage? Can they come at you? Can they sidestep? And salsa on your bodies. It's going to be a explosive game, I reckon, Jubes. We talk about bot lane maybe being a bit of a calm one, but at least in the mid jungle, that's why I'm looking to say, okay, how can they free themselves up? How can they look to try and show attention to the top half of this map?
We've actually got one of my mates ready for an interview here, Calvin, the coach of Order. I nearly whiffed that one because he actually was the old coach of Gravitas, so I nearly said the coach of Gravitas. But Calvin, welcome.
Yeah, hey Brandon, how are you?
Oh, a long time no see, but maybe we'll catch up off air.
Off air, correct.
Talk to me. This does seem like, now that I look at it, it seems like a very Calvin draft. How does this composition play out, and what are you expecting?
Well, you know, my drafts usually have one clear, like, you know, ways we play around, and that is the Jace in the top lane, right? We have this Jace into the Gnar matchup. Maximize is very, he's very vocal, you know, and he's very keen to really look to have his debut game a pretty much lane kingdom game. So, you see him being very confident on Twitter, on social media. He's also very confident on the Rift as well.
Yeah, for sure. And so what do you see kind of, you need to be careful of? Like what's something that you see on the Gravitas lineup and you think, okay, these boys need to play smart around it?
Yeah, so definitely like Gravitas have a massive team comp where they just want to run at you. So they have this Gnar who becomes like Mega Gnar, and then you've got the Hecarim charging, and that those two coupled with the Karma Mantra E and the Severe Ult, they have a really big threat in terms of just running at you. However, our team comp, we really want to focus on that side lane split push in that Jace, and also we still can always counter their engage with the Galio ult, with the Lilia sleep, with the Nautilus ult.
Hey, Calvin, I'll quickly interrupt you there, Juice.
Yeah, go for it.
Big question for me. So you've obviously got a roster here that you've found, big synergies between two key areas of the map right now. But talk to me a little bit about Chungy. He's obviously come into this role playing a Galio today. Usually all about those hard carries, and sort of how's that evolution really taken place?
Yeah, I think Chungy is a very versatile player. People know him for a lot of the niche picks, such as Ahri, the Kai'Sa. He does have a lot of different niche picks, and the Yasuo. But Chungy, from my experience with him for the last couple of weeks, he's a very versatile player. Not only can he just play these niche champions, he can also play carry champions. He also can play utility champions like this Galio.
And Calvin, what's it like coaching against Gravitas? I know there's a long history there. You were there for a long time, and also in the first season that Gravitas participated in the professional league. So, is there any like feelings towards that? Have you had any banter backwards and forwards with them?
Yeah, definitely feels a little weird, seeing GRV on the other side instead of instead of my side. Definitely also had a few banter with Sean, the owner of Gravitas, on social media. So like everyone can check it out there, on my Twitter.
Nice plug.
At Calvin Lee OCE or at Sean Callanan. I'll help you as well, Sean.
Well done, mate.
Love it. Well done. Well done. We'll let you go because I know it's a pain to watch games and and do interviews at the same time. So best of luck and thank you for joining us, Calvin.
No worries, man. See ya.
See you later.
Well, plenty of insight as always. As you say, I mean, it sort of showcases the sort of diversity of talent, right? They've been here, they've been there, they've been around either in the scene for a while, or they've had a taste of what it's like on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, for sure, and you'll find that a lot of the time, right? Different players on different teams, different coaches on different teams, and often at times, it is like a little bit of a giving away your recipe, right? I know Calvin, the Gravitas lineup at least knows. Hang on a minute, something happened in the bot lane. Both summoners burnt from Gravitas, and you'd have to say a hook landed onto the Jhin, and they're not looking to be in the best position because Hecarim is in the bot side of the map, Lilia is in the top side, so Puma and Beats need to be careful that they don't get dove, but Piglet and Isaiah are just opting in for the full reset, and that's really good because the wave now is actually slow pushing towards them. They're going to have the wave in a really good position. Kiyose.
Gotta be careful right now. He's getting very, very low. Both junglers waiting in the wings. Out comes the damage. There's the smite. There's the ignite. There's the damage. He's not running Ghost. He's not running Flash. He's all in. He'll get a kill. But now, will he get run on down by the Lilia? Not too close to the turret there, Juice. He'll be dropped down to 50, but it pays off.
Yeah, cheeky little 1-for-1 there. Might see a little contest on the Raptors, but that's as good as Vengeance is, considering there's teleport coming on through from the Galio and Nautilus on the bot side of the map. But looking for the smite. Yeah, smite up. Vengeance no smite, so he should be able to get those. Yeah, and so what I wanted to focus on here was the bot lane. So there was a reset coming out of Piglet and Isaiah, and this wave is slowly pushing towards them. There is no summoner spells on Puma. So Hecarim can just come straight out of base, past the bot side, eat their Gromp, then potentially look for a gank. So, Order really do need a bailout of this lane. This lane is not a good position. Not a good position at all. And there are no wards to protect from this gank. Beats has opted in for a sweeper, and that is not going to protect you from a rampaging Hecarim.
Yeah, well, you can't see any window right now. Both junglers are pathing towards bot side. One's going to start on the Gromp as Lily still makes her way towards what is the area of interest. Dragon is there for the taking. Hook goes out. Not going to connect, but I'm not sure if that was the hook that he was looking for just yet. As members weren't there to set up and assist.
Hecarim should know that's warded. Like, you know, Puma and Beats did dip out to the top side. They should have saw that Puma or Beats did have a pink ward on their person when they returned to lane. So, you know, Azus does know this is warded, but, you know, just his presence in this bot side of the map makes it hard enough for Puma and Beats to lane. And we're seeing a slow CS lead increase in the bot lane, which is, you know, very nice if you're the Sivir.
Well, I'm not going to complain about that one whatsoever, especially when you're, well, both summoners more than anything are down. You want to wait for that to come back up, continue to be aggressive. But yeah, as a Sivir player, much the same as Jin, we might get a chance to see what happened there. Or no, we'll just get to check out what happened mid. And this is the Smite Ignite Fiesta.
Yeah, little bit of a bait from both mid laners, right? Both junglers were just on opposing sides of the map. Little 1-for-1, Vengeance gets first blood. Karma burns the flash when she was already dead, but much of a much really gold onto both members that they would want them on. And so far, top lane, bit of an even, bit of a stalemate, but Maximize got the wave in a really good position. This is where he wants it, and Safa does need to be careful. Lilia, Vengeance is, you know, popping his head into top side, but this is really well read from...
Oh no, he's going to get knocked into the swell seed. He's going to get bopped on the head and taken on down. And that's the second kill to Vengeance, and the link up between two former teammates. They come back in 2021 and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he nearly hit Mega, but I don't think it mattered at that time because Vengeance has had, due to the solo kill, and able to push that wave out and get the EXP in the mid lane. He's hit it early level 6. Azus doesn't have that level 6, so they were always going to lose that 2v2.
Well, question does become now, what can Gravitas look to do to try and get themselves back into this one? Early days, obviously, you know, 7 minutes in, but that was the area, the lane that we were really highlighting to sort of see what could have taken place. Maximize had himself a small item advantage going into that trade as well, but the pathing favored them. And Alia online as early as this usually spells disaster.
Yeah, it's not great, is it, when you're versing a fed Lilia, and you know, the more Na that, you know, falls behind and dies in this matchup, the more Jace takes over. He's already picked up one lethality item, and obviously Na's opted in for the boots, but just a really good gank here, and on a really good timing. You know, Maximize had very good control of the top wave, was able to put Safa in a position he didn't want to be in, and even though he has the jump, has the sums, he's just never surviving that. And this is what you can do in these Jace matchups. Because James is, you know, range melee champion that has a lot of burst, you can keep the lane in that state for as long as you want, and just cause like a volatile matchup topside.
Yeah, and as you can see there from the replay, both junglers did have the same idea. Azus was just waiting in the wings, but just too little too late. Not in the right position based on that current wave state, and now it makes life a little bit more difficult here for Safa as we check in with the bottom half of the map. Summoners are back, all 4 of them. So no harm, no foul, no danger alert anymore.
You know, back in my day, we had to give blue buffs to mid laners, even when they were playing Karma. Even when they were playing Galio. In my day, if you didn't give blue buff, that's it. You're playing with one man less because there's a tantrum. But I see all these junglers now eat blue buffs, and I think, wish I had my time again, you know?
Well, surely that's the jungle tax coming in through, and that's the time that you wish you could be amongst. As Hecarim with blue buff has a field day, but maybe Lilia with a red buff has 1-2. Lantern gets them out to safety, and Gravitas will evade a potential second attempt.
Nice little spell shield there. Hecarim here. Could be danger. Galio ult is online. We need to consider that.
So be careful. He's going to get knocked up right now. Out comes the Galio ult. He gets put to sleep. 2-man knock up. That's going to be the charge away, but too little too late. It doesn't matter. Hecarim's first ult. It's not a good one. He'll burn the ignite. The TP will come on through from Maximize just to guarantee it. Now it's a case of what can Safa do topside as order pick up this first dragon.
Vengeance is having an absolute blinder. Having an EXP lead in this matchup as well as gold lead, you know, and KP lead. Just a really good performance from him, you know. Putting the jungle on cooldown, has some good pathing, and wherever he goes, he's making it work. He's getting a kill or an assist for it, and played that team fight extremely well. Slept to Hecarim. Hecarim had to ulti out, and it was just as good as dead once you're ulting out as Hecarim.
Certainly was. Not a good start for them in that department right now, but they do have scaling on their side. We talked about that before. Maybe not so much on the Gnar, but definitely with the double support empowerment for the 2 speedy boys.
So we see here, nice little flash forward from Beats to set this up, and you think Vengeance is a little bit of trouble, but the Galio ult really does just zone any forward pressure coming out of Gravitas lineup, and you know, for good measure, Maximize TPs, you'd have to say wasn't needed. Potentially, you know, gave Safa a little bit of a lifeline or a little bit of, you know, breathing room. Able to push that wave in, get it to bounce back, and you know, cuts the CS deficit.
It really just cut that fight in half and made it that, you know, you were over there and we're over here and you're unable to cross this path. This is the Bermuda Triangle. Things go amiss and people will fall on down. 3 kills to 1 so far for Order in a nice little situation, up by 1k, but now they're looking for more. They're going to go for a trade around the Pixel Brush.
Lilia has no
picking
ultimate.
up one.
Might be in a little trouble. Misses the boomerang. Can he get the speed to keep up?
He's chasing on through.
He does.
He's gone for the energy, the bounce, the pop, the boomerang it hits. Just not enough there, Juves.
It's actually a shame that he hit Mega, and also a shame he missed the first boomerang. Might have been a little bit of kill threat there. Nevertheless, Lilia burnt the flash. He's definitely going to be a focus for the next team fight. Nice auto spacing there from Maximize, showing the proficiency on his champion. Little bit of mechanical skill, going for the solo kill.
No,
Flashes
Sap has
forward.
already used his ultimate. Maximize just going to take him down as a result. He punished him big time. He identified that such a big cooldown was used on minions. He had the confidence. He said the words. He wants to be the winner. He's going to get charged upon. He was fleeing. He was falling on down. It doesn't matter in the end. Vengeance on the hunt, looking to try and stop the chase. But yeah, Maximize will pay the ultimate price in the end.
I mean, so far so good, right? Was very vocal coming into this game. Picked up the solo kill now. Can flex his muscles a little bit. Can get a little more chirpier, if you will. Probably doesn't need an invitation, does he?
Certainly doesn't. He's a player with confidence, and you know, maybe quite rightly so. I mean, we already talked about it before with Pensnet or Biopanther probably being the arguably best top laner in the league as it currently stands. There is egos flying around right now, and you know, if you have that confidence, you got to back it up with results.
Kyose doing pretty well in this matchup so far. Has picked up, you know, he's opting in for the Moonstone as well, so we're going to see that one again.
No surprises there, of course.
Now, we'll go into the replay here first. So this is what we missed on the bot side of the map. So we saw, you know, Isaiah just get caught off in the river, pretty much in no man's land, and a teleport coming through for good measure. So good as dead, giving the kill over to Puma, putting a lot of trust into the Jhin there. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on before we went into replay. It is only a small gold lead, right? Like, it's nothing substantial, nothing to write home about.
Sure.
Yes, Jace is accelerated, Lilia is accelerated, but if we look at the Hecarim, in terms of the composition they've built, it is the player that they wanted to get ahead is ahead.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how this composition comes together. And, you know, Aziz did have a little bit of a rough start to the game, but he is the shining light for this Gravitas roster, and this composition can come online now.
And that was really my point from the draft, right? You know, if Hecarim comes online nice and early, if he finds that little lead, is that enough for them to exert pressure on the map to try and match what Order, no doubt, are looking to do on their own accord? He has been showing a bit of attention out to topside to try and make Sapphire's life just a little bit easier. But he can't afford to fall behind in this jungle department because Vengeance is chomping at the bit to not pick up the first dragon, but also to grab themselves the first herald as well.
Yeah, and I mean, when your top side's this strong, you can do what you want. The Rift Herald's there, so they're not even going to think about contesting it. Galio is quite strong in these, you know, these Ruby fights as well, with the flash, with the taunt, with the Predator boots. So, you know, give that one away. All good. Siva Piglet and Isaiah are laning extremely well though. You know, still maintaining that CS lead, maintaining, you know, the lead that needs to happen, right? Like, they need this Siva to get online. You know, Hecarim will bridge that gap. This Hecarim being accelerated will bridge that gap and be able to get, you know, Piglet to that late game phase where he's 2 to 3 item Siva and he's just landing multi-man ricochets in the backline. So, you know, Gravitas have their win cons available as well as Order. Exciting to see what happens when we group.
It's going to be quite exciting. One thing worth noting is that Piglet has gone for the Kraken Slayer as opposed to the Gale Force, so just wants a little bit of extra damage for the uptime that they'll have with all that movement speed as opposed to the displacement. They don't need any more mobility is essentially what that tells me. He doesn't need the fact to try and disengage or have a second flash on a 60-second cooldown. Yeah,
he's got the Silver ulti. He doesn't really need any other mobility, right? You know, the Galio isn't going to get access to the back line unless Gravitas make an error. Neither is Nautilus, so it is just going to be those front-to-back team fights in which the mobility from Silver ultimate should be enough. So why not opt in for that extra shred?
Extra shred will come in overtime, especially once that second item comes on through, the Essence or even the Mana Sustain to chuck out those spells on repeat. As for Puma, he has actually gone for the Gale Force, one of the best champions for that, as Jhin is very vulnerable to getting collapsed upon.
Yeah, well, this one makes sense, right? Because he's going to have a Hecarim diving on his head with a Karma Shield, with a Silver ultimate. You know, any little bit of mobility, any way that he can juke or dash to provide him with that extra survivability, he's going to utilize. And you know what? Why not use it aggressively in lane?
He's going to showcase that he is not afraid of what you may be able to throw at him. Still going to look to try and put this lane state in a beneficial moment for him because he has found himself down by 30 CS, but with a kill and an assist, not going to be the biggest difference between the two AD carries currently. And the Gold League continues to stabilize with a very, you want to say minimal lead, really, more than anything, at the 15-minute mark.
I'm impressed with Azus at the moment. He knew that the Lilia was on bot side camps due to the ward that they had there. Hold that thought.
That's the flash forward and ult. The box goes down immediately. Out comes the line, out comes the damage. Just the Drowsy, and there's the bop on the head once again. On repeat, Lilia just does not miss those. Night Harvester is there, and it just makes it so hard to chase. There's the flash for the knockback, but this gets cancelled out. Galio with the mitigation. It came in a little bit too late, but it didn't matter because the damage knock from Safa, it was a Hail Mary attempt. He tried to 1v5. But Juice, it just wasn't the play.
I mean, you'd have to argue. A little bit of miscommunication there, right? They knew Hecarim was in top side of the map. They were getting a win, right? Hecarim was eating the blue buff, eating the wolves, eating the top side camps of Lilia. All Gravitas bot lane needed to do was play safe, not get engaged on, and not teleport into what was impending doom. And, you know, Order forced the play there, worked out for them. They committed and they were rewarded. So, again, something that could have been a positive result for Gravitas just turns out to be a negative.
Yeah, it feels like the pressure really is piling now. Potentially in Safa's court more than anyone's right now, feeling like I need to do something. I'm now finding myself 0-3, not finding much luck in this Jace lane. Need to try and make something happen cross-map. Our team is not doing too bad in the bottom lane, so we need to try and force something on that regard. That puts him into a bit of a weird situation now because much like we talk about the argument of, say, a Shen or a Malphite, the ultimate really is going to be the key displacement factor, but with not much durability after.
So we see here, right, not much to it. Really just Nautilus walking up, landing the ultimate, and I say landing when it's just a point and click ability, and just picking up that kill. Teleport's coming on in. I think, you know, Safa thought no sums, maybe was able to trade 1-for-1 there, but Galio ult came on through and really just played or spelt disaster for Safa, and not off to a great start, but, you know, Mega Gnar can always turn a team fight if he lands a multi-man stun, so got to hold out hope for that.
Certainly can. That is definitely what we will be looking to see. As it is now...
Hecarim might pick up a kill here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's Hecarim on the flank right there. Instantly out goes the heal. They need it for the movement speed. His Gale Falls already. It's already been used. He can ultimate out to safety, picks up a solo kill, and takes away your camp for just pure disrespect.
You know, Azus, if he was a little quicker on the Ignite, might have been able to save his ulti because Jin got full utilization of that heal, right? Where if you ignite him, you reduce the heal and you potentially, you know, do a little bit more damage. Hold that thought.
Oh, hang on. There's a Hex Slash straight into the depth charge, into a taunt, a hook. The CC layering 1, 2, and 3. You can't run from me. He's going to fall on down. But let's switch from mid. Let's go to top. Swirl the seed and get a second in quick succession. 1 tower apiece right now, Juice, but soon to be a second.
Yeah, it's just falling over for Gravitas at the moment. You know, 2,000 gold lead now. Really well played from Beats. Hex splashing over the wall, really utilizing that champion. And, you know, whilst they had a little bit of a win on the bot side, they weren't able to stabilize and reduce the deaths, you know, mid lane and top lane. And again, good punish from Order. Puma died on the bot side of the map, but they said, you know what, that's okay, he's dead. Let's look for a play somewhere else. So they just split map, and like we said they would, they split map and they look for a play on the other side.
Oh, the scariest faces on the Rift right now are these two junglers. Both with 4 kills to their name. They have been very active on the map, not only in farming, but also being in the right place at the right time to pick up those kills. They can solo kill, but they can also group up and deliver the damage just the same. Both the supports, if you will, in the mid lane here, looking to try and unlock the rest of their team. They're not going to be too dissuaded by this one, despite their KDA. They know what their objective is in this match, and they know that they have a vital role in ensuring that CC and support is there when it is needed.
Both bot lanes fighting for mid lane prior now, but Gravitas need to be careful because the Jace is on the bot side.
He's hunting, they're looking for it. He's in hook range. Will he land it? No, he holds it. Yeah. He knows there's a spell shield.
He didn't want to be dragged into turret range there. He was a little bit smart there for the bait that was coming on through from Piglet. Croc Blast did land there and take away half Piglet's health.
So here we go, third dragon is an Infernal Soul that they will be playing for. Extra damage, why not? You'd love to see it on Order right now between the poke that they have. Jin and Jace, fantastic acquisition for them. And the map continues to light up blue in their favor.
Yeah. You know, at this point, I'd like to see Safa move in towards a, that's a Jinol. Ooh, didn't trust the fancy feet there. Opted in for the heal instead of potentially trying to juke that one. So, nice little Jinol there coming on through.
Yeah, Curtain's Call used to good effect right now as he works towards that second item with the Zeal online right now. Looking to try and be as nimble as possible. You already talked about it before. The fact is he can get slowed down by this Hecarim, but there are so many more threats that he has to worry about too.
I mean, at this point, it might even be worse. The Hecarim just trying to trade 1-for-1 or kill Maximize, right? Or the Lilia, because, you know, the Jhin, yeah, he's up there, but the Sivir, you would argue, is stronger, so you don't really need to worry about the Jhin threat, or you do, but there are bigger threats to worry about, like this Lilia, like this Jason. You know, we have to keep an eye on Vengeance. He's picked up the stopwatch, so next fight, you can guarantee he's flashing forward, landing on multi-man sleep. So execution or you know, the ball is in Order's favor. The ball is in Order's court, if you will, for this next team fight. They have all the tools to start it and all the tools to finish it.
And they certainly do there, Juice. As you say, combined with a stopwatch is the 5 stacks on that Darksteel, which we might see, if he continues at this rate of acceleration, upgrade into the Magias afterwards. Extra movement speed, because why not? But as it goes for Maximize, still working his way towards getting that tier fully stacked up for the evolution and AD boost.
Safa's been given some time to farm now, though, so it's not all doom and gloom for him. Looks like 3 minutes till the next kind of objective that both teams will fight over. You don't really want to be giving away Soul Point, especially when it's an Infernal Dragon, if you're the Gravitas composition. And they do some of their best work when they're grouped and together. So, you know, they'll be talking about item spikes coming on through. Will Sivir have the second item by the time Dragon rolls around? Probably. So, you know, might be looking for that that team fight, that window of opportunity where the Hecarim's just absolutely power spiked, and hopefully can have that next item built and ready to go. Might look for the dive on Jace here. Galio is not in range, but does have teleport up.
Yeah, this definitely seems to be the play right now. You can see that this entire bottom half of the map has been swept and now belongs to Gravitas as a result. They know that nobody of Order is in the area, and if they are, they can catch them out. So Hecarim's going to pay the price and look to go tax and get himself up even further in this game. Up now by, well, 30 CS. He's really become a monster. There's the hook. It's not going to mean too much because he can hook just back out.
Really good way. They did a really good thing there, Gravitas, right? You know, a lot of the time, AD carries will just try and last hit that wave, and they won't really understand the danger that's impending. You know, Gravitas realized they were on the threat of a dive. They had the Galio ult as well, so it would have been a 4-man dive. Piglet didn't necessarily worry about the CS. Just clear the wave as fast as you can, so that way the tower is your best friend straight away. Now, able to do that, land the hook, and, you know, deter that dive from coming on through. And, you know, as long as that mid tower stays up, you know, they stand the shot in this game. Gold lead isn't too bad, only at 2k, and this mid turret does allow them to keep, you know, access to their turret, to their jungle camps, right? Able to, you know what, defend their camps, able to fall back to a turret and have a little bit of safety. Turret might go down here though.
Safety may soon fall on down. Hook for hook, both support champions showcasing what they can do, that they can engage, but they can also disengage as well, as you saw. A cheeky look at the gold lead so far, and it's Maximize who wins that bet at 9k. Another stopwatch. This time
look at
found
the
on the
items
Galio.
now.
Yeah, and I was just going to touch on the fact that we're looking at the Grievous Wounds also on Vengeance, so really can afford to make that flashy play in the stopwatch and just look to take down as many people as possible.
Piglet really needs to have a big team fight here, as well as Azus. They're definitely not giving this Dragon. You can tell by the way they're posturing and the way that they're setting up for this. They need to kill someone off the back of a really good hook or a Hecarim execute. And we're seeing Hecarim run into the Lilia here, so
looking for
a bit of trouble though.
They both get knocked over together with the blast cone. Jungle v jungle.
Yeah,
he goes for the ultimate. The stopwatch cancels it out. He spell queued beautifully, but can he survive to tell the tale? He can indeed, because he can flash away, and he's got 2 teammates in quick support to make sure that that fight works in their favor. Gravitas looking to try and enter into this Dragon fight, but they're not going to find much success so far. Or are they? They've disengaged. They've got mobility. They've got shield, and then they've got success. They pick up 2. Now the rest of Order that were fighting down below
mega.
come up and say, what can we do? Saf, you might be at 0-4, but you have an ultimate you can displace, but hold it. But hold it. A 4th Dragon has just spawned, and it will be required for that.
So much to digest there. Fights on two fronts. I'm not even going to try because we're going to see Maximize and Vengeance contest this Dragon. No flash on the Lilia. Karma is not with the team. This is crucial. Karma cannot offer that empowered shield. And the Moonstone.
Oh, they're just taking it down too as quick as they can. The stopwatch again, nullifying anything. And Safa, he still has the ultimate. He can't use it. Their time has expired. They'll pick up some fruit. They'll get healthy. They'll pick up a dragon. And they'll put themselves in soul point.
You have to argue that's a very big mistake from Gravitas and a costly one. Kiyose went to the midway for no reason whatsoever. You know, you have to remember they picked this champion to buff, to empower the members of his team. And, you know, what's the point in having that item if you're not going to be with them? And he was almost on the flank and hold that thought.
Oh,
Might be a solo kill here.
Maximize has a 500 gold bounty, but can he turn it around? There's the gate, the blast. He switches forward, he takes one down. He'll fall on down eventually. The shutdown will go the way of Kiyose, but he doesn't seem to care because he's bought enough time for the rest of his team to pick up Baron.
Like, but I want to digest something. I want to break it down, and there's just not enough time because there's 1v1s and 2v2s happening everywhere. But I think it's fair to say the Baron is going to be taken by Order, and you know, you have to think of the saving grace is that Maximize will not have the Baron buff, right? Like, there's still the opportunity to force on the group, and oh, I thought Siva maybe had a chance.
Yep, it was a well orchestrated play there. Not going to fall victim to any smite failings today, especially without Gravitas even having a smite on their end to form a contest. 14 kills to 7 right now. The Gold League starting to build in Order's favor. And, well, they've now got 4 Baron buffs to set up and siege with.
Yeah. But, you know, do you really want to set up the siege? If you're me, you let Jace attack that side lane, get the priority in the side lane. Depending on how hard he's winning that side, which he should win it extremely hard, then he can cheat towards the group or have Galio cheat towards him because, you know, we're at a point in which this Gnar really probably can't stop this Jace.
Not a fun time for him right now. 3 item spike. Soon to be 4, really, on Maximize here, as he will be shredding through people like butter. And he knows it's only a matter of time before that soul point is there. 3 Infernal Dragons. It just doesn't get any worse than that.
It doesn't, and 3 minutes is going to be the crucial time, all right? There's going to be the next team fight then. Depending on how much Order try and take down here. You know, they take down this mid turret. How long are they going to stay? Let's see if Jace can land the poke. Messes up his combo there a little bit, but, you know, we'll pretend we didn't see that one.
Yeah, nobody's seen that one. It's going to hook in a minion, make sure that it cannot be empowered from afar. Will die to turret shots as a result. And this is the beginnings of the Baron Siege right now. You can see that Safa is quite content just holding down bot wave, but there's 2 areas that Order can attack if they want to.
Look at the damage. So when I see Hecarim like this, when I see Hecarim standing behind his carries, this means that Gravitas do not want to fight. Because if Gravitas wanted to fight, this Hecarim would be posturing on the side. Yep. Not just from a straight, you know, and Jhin ulting.
Well, the curtain call is basically them sending a message. We are sieging, we are taking turrets galore. You are going to sacrifice this, and mid lane belongs to us. That's the first inhibitor, and it goes the way of Order.
I mean, if there's one champ that you want to lose an inhibitor on, it's probably Siva. Let's be honest. The Ricochet absolutely just eats waves, and hold that thought because Safa is in a position he does not want to be in. TP being burnt from Maximize.
He's locking off the angles right now. He's going to get
Galio
knocked back. Out goes to Galio, comes in with the crash landing. And EKS is that one for free. But there is nowhere to run or hide for Safa. It's not been the best game for him today. One that he'll be looking to forget, but Order will capitalize on that and look to attack the side lane.
Yeah, and they're just playing reactionary League of Legends right now, and you know what? They kind of have to. When they have members falling down like that, all they can do is try their best to wave clear, and the 5-man of Order right now just a little bit too strong, especially with that Baron buff, and oh my goodness, Vengeance just flashes in.
And look at that, that was the play we were waiting for. They all put to sleep, the knock, the bot, the whack-a-mole style gameplay right there. Run back to your fountain, that's the second inhibitor for us. And Order have min-maxed this Baron buff to a T.
Might be able to end here. Hook misses. What's it? Azus on the side here. What's he looking for? Piglet taking a lot of damage. Karma buffs him up. Maximize very low. Might need to reset before this dragon because he has no teleport. And you know, this is the soul point.
Well, the Baron buff has expired, and they know that, as you quite rightly point out, 40 seconds on an Infernal Soul. The game belongs to them right now. The state is so strong, especially with 2 waves consistently pushing against their opposition. They know that They don't need to give their opposition any real get out of jail free card. They can reset up, and they can end the game on that.
Now, they do have 2 Moonstones on the side of Gravitas. Now, I'm not if one member's expecting to die before the other, but the only kind of shield or heal that Hecarim has is the Thresh has is the Lantern. So I'm not entirely sure if that was just like a little bit of nerves, a little bit of whatever that was, but I think Karma's more than enough. In this instance, and
look,
that's just me trying to be polite.
it's interesting to say the least.
I'm just trying to be polite. That's all. I do not think it's optimal League of Legends. It is not optimal gaming.
Well, do or die moment now for Gravitas. The Soul Point is going to go across to Order uncontested. And as it stands, it doesn't look like this game is going to last long enough for them to even wait out for that potential Baron in 90 seconds.
Sipper is picking up a truckload of farm though. You have to look at the 323 CS at 31 minutes. All they need to stall for is 170 CS to be exact, and then they might have a 500 CS silver win condition. See if that one still exists. Look at the ricochets, do a little bit of work on Puma.
Certainly is starting to pack a bit of a punch right now. Out comes the Golden Gold nice and early, escorting in those minion waves from mid and from bot, making sure that they've got a lot of waves to crash on through and buff up this siege attempt. What are Gravitas looking for here?
They're looking for a dive here.
Oh, there's the flash into the taunt. Galio being a crazy man. That's one, and that's a second kill. The jungle goes on down, and so does Azaya. A crash on the top of this map, and they find what they need. They'll find a turret as well amongst all the carnage and chaos. Now, one final turret remains. Can they juggle with their opposition just long enough? Can they tease them? Can they taunt them? Can they just outright take them down? Yes, they can. A fountain will not deter us. You can jump away, but I'll hook you right back into the claw of defeat. That's going to be all things Order as they open up their campaign with a win.
Yeah, relatively clean game coming out of Order there. A lot to be happy with. Stuck to a composition, had an identity and played around it, right? You know, this was the Maximize show. They were very vocal about Maximize, and, you know, you have to really throw credit to Vengeance as well, right? Had a very solid game. First picked that Lilia for a reason. Showed his proficiency on that champion, and you know, a significant amount of times, and a performance to be very happy with if you're an Order fan.
Certainly was a performance to be happy with, and I'm sure Mac was quite happy with that one as well. You know, you went for Order, they got the dub, mate. How'd you feel about that one?
Beautiful. Not biased at all, but I'm very, very happy that they got the dub. The boys got there in the end. And look, couldn't have asked for more. So that was a bit unfortunate, you know, for Gravitas there. But Order, I'm sure they're going to be very happy with that beginning to their careers here in LCO.
Well, you know, just to touch on Gravitas, pretty positive, to be honest. Wasn't expecting the performance out of Azus that was there, and the bot lane specifically, Piglet and Azaya really put on a show, you know, got the CS lead, was able to, you know, rotate around the map and honestly hold on to the game for a little bit longer than they should have. But obviously all credit going to Order here, and this was almost like a, you know, not the beginning of the end, but definitely the beginning of what the plan was for Order, you know. Really put the pain on Safa, and, you know, this was this bot side engage that was just really well played from Vengeance and Beats, you know, able to pick up the kill on Azus and Maximize with the just popping his head in to say good day, but Skimmy.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of key skirmishes, right? And the map control really from that evolved into a state where Gravitas were just very scared to really roam out from the restrictions of what there was vision. And, I mean, as you already touched on, you know, Piglet was becoming a formidable force, but he needed more time, and they weren't afforded that time. The game was really going against him, and, you know, he could have been up, you know, another 100 CS, 170 as you put it, and then it would have been really the true 1v9 solo queue experience.
Yeah, but again, you know, 500 CS probably doesn't make up for the deficit that the Jace has. So again, really good performance from Order, and we see here, you know, setting up for this Dragon again. Just really good follow-up and execution on these team fights, right? You know, just a pure front to back, you know. Oh, this was actually after the cleanup.
Yeah.
You know, it was a really good cleanup and really well played from Order.
Yeah, just a lack of fear and just an overall sense of cohesion, right? And, you know, we heard it from Maximize in the pre-game interview that, you know, people are dismissing us, saying that, you know, maybe we're 5th, maybe 6th. They're not really putting us up in that top 4 spot for, you know, playoffs and finals. And I think, you know, they definitely stamped their authority here on day number 1.
Stamped their authority. Sorry, Mac. I've done it again.
Go.
No, I'm not going.
You're not
I
gonna?
refuse. It's up
you
to
sure?
you. I refuse.
You
It's
sure?
yours
I'll
now.
stand out of the way.
Nah,
you
run
can
with
go-
it,
you can
run
go.
with it,
It's
run
fine.
with it.
But you sure? You sure?
Run
Okay,
with
no worries.
it.
Just checking, making sure. Anyway, what I was going to say is, so what do you think Gravitas really needed to do to try to push that lead they did have towards the beginning of the game? And how could they have secured a victory, theoretically, if they were able to play off the power curve?
Look, they just had to stop the topside bleed.
Yeah.
Obviously, playing that game the way that they did, they had leads in the bot side of the map. They didn't have a lead in the jungle, but they definitely were even, right? I think they even had a slight lead in the jungle when we tapped the gold at a certain point. So they had avenues to play through. They just didn't play through the avenues, right? Like, a lot of the time when they got the kill bot lane, got the turret, they died on top side. So you need to be able to play weak side well when you're winning on the other side of the map. But unfortunately, when you're already in a hole, when you're already in a ditch, it becomes hard to then play weak side successfully. So, a lot to look at, a lot to review, positive on both ends, order just, too strong today.
There you go. Now we do have Nat T down on the sidelines again, and I believe you've got someone to talk to, one of the victors, one of the winners. Nat.
Yes, I was very lucky enough to get Vengeance. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on the very first win for you guys.
Thank you.
You really showed that you shouldn't be underestimated in this split. But I do want to ask, a few people were intrigued by the Gravitas' draft. What were your thoughts on it? And how did you guys go, okay, this is how we're going to combat it and this is how we can win?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we predicted that the mid laner would get the karma going, to be honest. We were thinking about it being in one of our bands. But honestly, we're not afraid of them at all. Max was really confident to the JS and Nah played that really well. So good on him. And yeah, honestly, it was just ease of execution on our comp, and yeah, played it well.
Yeah, definitely saw that. Luckily, you guys didn't ban out the karma. And what does the win actually mean for you guys? What does the win mean for you guys? How much confidence have you gotten from this win?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, we consider ourselves, we're planning to win the whole thing. Obviously, winning is great, but I do believe Gravitas is one of the weaker teams. I believe next week, I won't even talk about Mammoth, to be honest, but looking into next week, yeah, it's just, we're going to be preparing for them because they're going to be the harder players the verse, and yeah.
Yeah, not too worried about the game that you have coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they hadn't cursed, maybe. I mean, no, I mean, it's not even on my mind, to be honest. No. I mean, Mammoth, they had a great roster announcement. I think maybe on the level of our announcement, but really no worries there. So.
No, that's great to hear. Stay focused. Absolutely love it. Thank you for joining me for the post game. Let's go back to Max, Gibby, and Juice and hear a little bit more from them.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Nat, getting all that information straight from the source. And I'm sure Order are going to be very happy with that win, as you could see there from Vengeance.
What's in the water? What's in the water in League?
He was chill. I play Lilia. Things are good. No stress, no dramas. Jungle Gap, XD. I mean, Jews. No, it must have been a dream game from him, surely.
There's a lot of confidence in quite a few camps, right? We look at Pentanet camp, a lot of confidence. We look at Order now, a lot of confidence. Now, where do I get some of this confidence?
The water, mate.
Is it in the water?
It's in the water. That's where you said it's
he's not worried about next week. He's not worried about the week after. I'm worried about what I'm going to have for dinner, let alone what I'm going to do in the League of Legends match, What am I going to do?
What, for dinner?
I don't know.
I think I got bigger,
I've got bigger problems than what's for dinner, let's be honest. So you've got to sort that out first, and then...
Look, I've got a little bit of time for you to be able to figure out what's wrong with your problems, what's for dinner, etc. Because we have to go to another break before we get into the fourth and final game of today. And that's going to be coming up just after this break. So ladies and gents, don't go too far. Go stay hydrated, find out what's in the water, and we will see you shortly.